Packing up. So much work. I guess I gotta use my thumb. Speechless right now after getting to see that. A camper unlike any other. I'm glad you guys are really addressing quality. It's the #1 issue. They'll take simple and lesser tech if it's like bulletproof.
Yeah.
We have been screaming for, you know, the standard RV companies to change. You can tow the new Lightship L1 for 300 miles like it's not even there. Virtually no reduction in your fuel economy. It has 7 days, a full week of off-grid power to run your appliances, air conditioning, heating, and charge your toys.
We're taking, you know, every little inch of space we can and every little, you know, every gram of mass we can to put it to the water tank. So
thank you for that.
That's
on behalf of the RVers of America, thank you for that. You have a dishwasher. They have a dishwasher in this size of trailer. That's awesome.
People are 100% gonna see this for the first time and just be like, what spaceship has landed in our campground?
I'm Tom.
And I'm Cherie.
And we're EnjoyTheJourney.Life.
If you don't already know, this is the Lightship L1. This is our flagship product. It's also our first product. We're going to production with it at the end of the year after a few years, you know, working in the background to get it right. We say we're biased, but we think it's the perfect travel trailer for the electric age. It's built very differently than a traditional travel trailer or really any traditional RV has been. We have a really strong focus on efficiency across the vehicle, so that means aerodynamics in particular, because when you're pulling a vehicle this big, you want it to act like a bullet, not a sail, so it needs to slide through the air as easily as possible. The way that we're looking at it, or I guess the perspective that we're looking at it from right now is called the camp mode. That means that the top half of the vehicle is fully telescoped up, so it's full height and it's very spacious on the inside for camping. But this whole top of the vehicle, which you can see the brake point right there, will telescope down about 3 feet, and then it gets into what we call the road mode. Road mode is, of course, very, very efficient and streamlined.
That's cool. I can't wait to try it out myself.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I think you might be one of the first on this. This is our prototype vehicle. We call it an alpha prototype vehicle. So it's the first. This is kind of automotive terminology. It's the first fully functional prototype that we built. Now, what about a year and a half ago. Yeah, it'll be exciting for you to check that out. The reason the efficiency matters so much is that our starting point for designing this whole thing was to say, how do we make a trailer that is very efficient if you're towing with a traditional truck. So, you know, most of us are used to getting 8, maybe 10 miles a gallon when you're pulling a big trailer behind your truck, compared to a 20 to 25 if the truck is unladen. So we said, how do we get, you know, save money at the pump, and then even, if not more important, looking to the future as well, where more and more passenger vehicles are electrified. We know that we're at the dawn of the electric pickup truck. These electric pickup trucks are amazing. Think about Ford F-150 Lightning, the Cybertruck, the Rivian. They all are very capable trucks, but they have I would say an Achilles heel around towing and towing range in particular, because when you strap a huge wall behind a very efficient electric vehicle, now its efficiency is degraded. And so we said, how do we solve that problem? How do you create a great long distance electric towing and road tripping experience? And the way that you can do that today is to design a very passively efficient vehicle, one that is low drag, and then, as we've done, put an EV battery and a motor on board, and we use that motor to self-propel the trailer so that the trailer is doing the work of pulling itself in a way, and that means that the truck that would be pulling it is not feeling that weight anymore, and thus is not losing fuel economy or range. And we think it's how many trailers will be built in the future, but this is the first.
That is so cool. And how small of a tow vehicle can you use for something like this?
I mean, you and Jerry know this, I'm sure intimately. You have to think about a couple of different specs of the tow vehicle to make sure that it's capable of pulling a big load. The payload capacity and the towing capacity are the two main to think about. So you want to make sure that you still have a tow vehicle, which would be, you know, a full-size truck or a full-size SUV, so at least a half-ton vehicle that can support the weight of the trailer, the ton weight in particular. That said, from the towing capacity standpoint, which is sort of how much weight the tow vehicle's powertrain can pull, that load is lessened significantly by having a drive system on board the travel trailer. So if you think about you know, like if we're in Colorado, if you're doing a big mountain pass, if you're climbing the Ike, it's gonna feel a lot better with a Lightship in tow, especially if, let's say, you're pulling with a V6, like a lot of half-ton trucks are turbocharged V6 gasoline engines now. If they would normally struggle to pull a load this big, like a 6,000 to 7,000 pound load, now it's gonna feel a lot better.
And is that electrified drivetrain, is that standard on both models coming out, or the upgrade, or the standard?
So we've announced two models to date, the L1 Essential and the L1 Long Range. The L1 Essential is sort of like it's the more no frills or less frills. It's obviously very, very, very different as it is, but it's a less frills experience. It's that sets the entry price point, and it allows all electric camping, but it doesn't have the drive system built into it. So it still has a big EV battery on board for all of your camping power needs, but doesn't have the full size battery. It's 40 versus 80 kilowatt hours of battery, which is 25 to 50 times the amount of battery that you'd find on a traditional travel trailer. And that 80 kilowatt hour battery on the long range vehicle we pair with a drive unit, and that's how you get that range assisting function. We can peer under the hood a little bit.
That sounds great. Let's look under the hood.
No matter what RV you choose, you're going to want to customize it for your needs. That's why Cherie and I recommend replacing your old mattress with a new mattress from RV Mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. Almost every RV manufacturer puts a cheap and thin mattress in their RV. And you need a great night's sleep on a great mattress in order to go out and have energy for an adventure the next day. Here is how easy it was to replace our old mattress.
What in the world?
Surprise!
If it's something big, we don't want it.
It's a new mattress.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tom, why? Just why? I don't understand.
I've been doing all these RV tours with other RVers, and like nearly all of them have been raving about RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding.
I was going to say, you've lost your mind.
So, are you excited to try this out?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get the old one out of there. Ready? How important is good sleep?
Well, you know, I'm huge on health, and sleep is a top top priority. 8 hours of sleep a night is the goal.
So what challenges have you had sleeping in the past?
You mean like sleeping with you?
Hey now.
Or are we talking about mattresses and beds?
Yeah, like mattresses.
Yeah, well, I've had back surgery, so, I have to be really careful with my back, and I like to have a nice mattress that, is good quality and, good sleep and not wake up achy, so, I like a good mattress.
So what do you think of it so far?
It's fit for a queen. Yeah, I guess the true test will be tonight, huh?
We've had our RV mattress from Brooklyn Bedding for almost 2 years now. From the very first night, it was like magic. I slept solid all night. We love it because it is firm yet soft in all the right areas, and it keeps us the perfect temperature all night. The technology that goes into these mattresses is incredible. That's what's cool about RV Mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. They have all these different choices to customize the perfect RV mattress for you. We went with the Aurora Luxe Queen Firm mattress to fit our RV and our preferences. With your RV mattress from Brooklyn Bedding, you get a 120-night sleep trial, a 10-year warranty, and it ships for free within the U.S. Plus, it's also built right here in Arizona. A huge thank you to RVmattress.com for sponsoring this video. Right now, you can save 30% off your entire order by going to RVmattress.com/EnjoyTheJourney and use the code EnjoyTheJourney to get that 30% off. But don't wait, that is a limited time deal. It's actually their best deal of the year, and after November that deal goes away.
I think that I mentioned it, but it's important to stress that this is it's a functional prototype. So actually, what we'll see a little later on the production line is a different and more production-oriented set of components than we built into this alpha prototype. So this showed a lot of the vision and the concept for the vehicle in real life, but doesn't have all the production answers built into it. So keep that in mind as we're going through it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Nonetheless, there's a bunch of really awesome stuff on it. Peer through the back here. So I think one of the big stories in terms of the heating and air conditioning system, or the climate control system, is that it is all electric and totally capable off grid. Most RVs, as you know, it's typically a rooftop air conditioner. There's a hole cut in the roof, and typically you need to be on hookups, high power hookups, to be able to run an AC like that. Even if you have I'd say what is today, before this, a cutting edge off grid battery based power system, it's still you still might only be able to run a rooftop air conditioner on a traditional RV for maybe a few hours, if you have a high power inverter on board as well. We're taking a totally new approach to how climate control is done inside of an RV. We're taking a more of like an automotive EV approach. So we have a high voltage bi-directional heat pump system built in. This is the same style of system that you'd find in a modern EV passenger car. It is a similar technology to something like a residential mini split system, where the system is both able to pump heat in and out of the vehicle to maintain the cabin conditions. What's really key about the way that we're doing it is we have a system like that, but designed for vehicles. So that means durability, how that system packages, what's inside versus what's outside is all thought of from a vehicle perspective, and critically runs off of the high voltage system. So now you don't need to be on grid at all. You don't need to have a power hookup to really capably climate condition your vehicle. So it could be 110 in the Arizona desert, and you can flick on your air conditioner, even if you're at an off-grid campsite, and run it for days on end. Now, with the addition of the solar system on the roof, we haven't talked about this yet, but the entire roof is covered in a solar array. It's integrated into the roof line of the vehicle. In most situations, like the sunny Arizona desert, you'll actually pull in more power off of the roof than it takes to run that efficient automotive heat pump system. And so like we talk about when we go to shows sometimes, even with this prototype vehicle, we'll run the air conditioner all day and we still have more energy coming out of the show than we started the day with, which I think is pretty cool. And a big change for the RVing experience.
You guys are giving me RV power envy. I was just trying to boondock here a few weeks ago at Mexican Hat, Utah. You know, it's 100 degrees that day. And oh my gosh, I mean, I've got a sizable solar and battery setup, but wow, it just chewed through that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the air conditioning units on a typical RV are not that efficient.
Yep.
Unless you're looking at a mini split. And
Pretty loud typically too, because it's a consolidated
Yes.
unit. If you think about it, when you put something like that dead center in the roof, then the whole roof acts like a drum as well. So
Right.
and then all the air is rushing above your head. So you're yelling over it just to make it work. In our case, the design of the system is that all the loud bits, like the compressor, for instance, sit on the tongue of the vehicle and are isolated from the cabin.
Okay, great.
Just the blower motor is on the inside of the cabin, and then there's a refrigerant line that goes between the two, so that the upshot is that you're going to get like great cool air and not have that rumbling all the time.
Can we have a listen to what that sounds like when we go inside?
Yeah, we can do it in this, although what'll be even maybe more interesting is to look at the production system over there, because that's representative of what it'll really be, whereas this prototype, what we built before we had the automotive style system, and so this is a residential system sort of adapted to the RV. So it's not from an experience and tech standpoint, it's not exactly what you'll get.
Gen 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another I think really cool thing you see on the exterior is just how we do the actuation system. So there's a 4-point motor system. You can actually see it here. We've designed it to be totally invisible. So when you go on the inside, it's actually not obvious that the vehicle has an actuation system at all. And essentially what's happening here is there's a really big beefy bracket that runs on a screw, powered by, you can kind of actually see here.
See the lead screw?
You can see the lead screw, and then there's a motor that runs at the bottom, and then we have to sort of coordinate all 4 of those lift points simultaneously to make the transformation happen between road mode and camp mode, which is a pretty fun experience. We'll show that later.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
And then I think another really cool thing to look at while we're out here, if we want to get down on our hands and knees, is you can kind of see the first iteration of our power system and our drive system. So we have right here under the rear axle, you can see the cradle with our drive unit in it. You can see the drive unit, and I'll go in front of the axles and you can see the power system, so the batteries.
Good that you're getting this too, because this a lot of the underbody is skinned over on the production vehicle, again for aerodynamic efficiency. So this is kind of an unlikely peer beneath the hood.
Yeah, from this angle, you can see our battery packs, suspension system there, and then here we have 2 battery packs. And actually, in our Alpha unit, we have a different battery system than you'll see in our Gen 2 system. But here, it's the silver boxes are each of the batteries. Each of those is about 40 kilowatt hours.
How do you source your batteries?
It's a great question. So this is, Ben and my and a lot of our team's background is sort of from the EV industry, and I think one thing that's taught us is to be really thoughtful about the batteries you use, and also to work with a number of different partners. So we have I think 4 different companies that we work with, and here you can see one of them, and right on the floor for our Gen 2 system you'll see another of them. Generally speaking, we want to work with a battery that is first and foremost super safe. Second, is sort of like an automotive grade system, And then we also really care about sort of weight and cycle life. So we're thinking about building something to last for a really long time. And we also envision this is going to be something that you're not only using when you're powering your camping experience, but you're also perhaps using it when you're at home, and you can use it as like a backup generator for your house. All of that means lots of cycles you're putting on the battery. We want that to be something that will last for a really long time and be safe and robust. Yeah, batteries is a fun and daily conversation here at Lightship.
I love that option as an additional power source in an emergency. I mean, as we're filming, there's hurricanes and tropical storms going on, and backup power is so needed. How long will the batteries last?
So it's an 80 kilowatt hour system, and it's really sized that way to get you a 300-mile range and be able to power the vehicle for a week off grid. So it's a big system. When you're using it as a sort of a home backup, you can sort of think of it as the equivalent of something like 6 Tesla Powerwalls. So for home use, it's massive. It's going to be a larger system than really anyone has installed, and that's something that has a ton of backup capability. Think about all the loads you'd have in your house.
Wow, you said 6
Yeah.
Tesla Powerwalls. That's awesome. I think people can start to see like this is not just a little bit of extra battery.
A typical home, let's say Powerwall system might be 1 or 2 of these. You're talking about 3 to 5 times as much energy to power your house as a capable, home solar system just installed on the home would be.
Great. And speaking of solar, I understand you're looking at having it on the awning as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a package space. Do you see the witness line above the small window in the chamfer there? So there's the door. The window,
I think so, yeah.
and then there's a cutout there. There's about a 5-inch package space where over time we will develop a solar awning to integrate into that cavity, so that basically it's hidden away and again preserves that sleek form of the vehicle for driving efficiency, but can pop out when you need it to give some extra juice. For the vast majority of people, we have about 2 kilowatts of solar built into the fixed portion of the roof, and have done a lot of work at a more detailed level too, to make sure that solar array is very resilient, meaning both over time and natural occurrences like you're driving through the Midwest and you hit a hailstorm, that sort of thing, that it's a robust solar array. The idea here is that we're really designing towards the RV camping experience. So think about how common it is that you get to a campsite and maybe a portion of the vehicle is shade covered, like you might have a tree or even just a long branch overhead. We've designed the array to be tolerant to that sort of shading, so that instead of all the power dropping off as some people might be used to, if you have just a little bit of shading, most of the capability of the array is preserved.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
It's a series of bypasses built into the array, so that even if a portion, like a set of the solar cells goes down, their voltage drops. Their drop in voltage is not influencing the other solar cells around those that are affected. So you're basically shunting power around the affected portion of the array.
Which is not how your typical solar system on your house works.
Yeah. Yeah, we do this at a very I guess a very resolved level. The bypasses are not just like a third and a third and a third, where you'd lose a third of the array. It is significantly more resolved than that. So if only say 10 or 15% of the array is covered, then the balance of the array is still functional.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because shaded sites are such a wanted thing for the summer, but yeah, they mess up your charging.
One of our starting ideas with the array is that this vehicle has a big roof, and we should make complete use of it for a solar array. So you shouldn't have to dodge around, vents and things like that are coming up through the roof, which if they existed would hurt the aerodynamics as well. We wanted to dedicate the entire usable surface of that big roof to solar, and so you'll see this even more on the production vehicle, that the solar array comes all the way out to the extents of the roof. And even if you look at it sort of on a zoomed in perspective, we don't have individual solar cells that are tiled in a pattern with sort of gaps between the cells. We've actually shingled the solar cells together so that the entire portion of the roof is active area for power generation, which again is totally unheard of in this space.
Right. I think that's the right direction to go. Might as well use all that space.
It took a lot of work though, a lot of engineering to have something that is that integrated and high performance and will last.
So can you still walk on the roof?
I think not. I think you'd not want to like put a big footprint on at least certain portions of the roof.
But there's really no need to, right? I mean,
well, there's nothing up there to get at apart from the array, which itself doesn't like stand alone on the roof. It is a part of the roof as well.
And safe to go through a car wash and wash off the solar panels. And
if the car wash is big enough to, a big RV manual wash where you're like getting up on a ladder to spray it down up top, no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
That's some of the fun testing that we do too. Like we're doing all sorts of like impact like testing on the solar glass, like making sure you can get a quarter size hail and there's no issue. It's kind of a foundational to our approach is having really like an automotive development and test process.
Great. Yeah, that opens up a whole new area. I mean, we talk a lot about RV quality, and having RVs built to automotive standards is what I think the consumer wants. And that's something you guys are working toward.
If you think about it, it's actually kind of crazy that you would buy a vehicle like this, something that just like a car you're going to put out on the road for hopefully a long time, and one type of vehicle, let's take your like a Ford F-150, you're pretty confident is going to last you a decade plus, and the other one is like maybe a few months of hard use before you start to see issues. There's a big one is a far cry from the other right now, which needs to change.
Well, Sheree, my RV is like 5 years old, and it's just constant breakdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like getting ready for this trip. I'm looking underneath. What's that water dripping down right there? I'm like, oh, another thing to add to the list. So I literally have a RV Tech's phone number card in my hotel room. Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna be back in a couple of days. Can you come out and fix it again? I mean, we have an extended warranty just to cover all of it. So I'm glad you guys are really addressing quality. It's the number one issue. I think even more than design from our viewers is they'll take simple and lesser tech if it's like bulletproof.
Yeah, robust, built to last. Yeah.
Yes, they love the tech as well, but they're wary of too much of it if they think it's going to cause problems and take away from a camping trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, awesome.
This was something that was like pretty foundational when we started. This is like 3 years ago, where we're like, okay, we're going to build an all-electric RV. That was the starting point. It wasn't immediately obvious like that quality or design like had to be a part of it, and it was only by doing a lot of RVing ourselves and talking to a lot of people who RV where you immediately realize like, yeah, like the RV is or I should say, making it electric is like an enabler. It's cool. It lets you do new things. It lets you be off grid for longer. But the ever-present topic of conversation is like, the thing isn't lasting very long. What do I do? How do I like upkeep it? And I'd say that was like the first kind of like year of our company where we're like, wow, there's actually really an opportunity here just to build the product better. And like one of our core values from that learning and from those early days was we to last. It's like let's not just build a product that's electric. Let's make it one that will last for. It's like a generational thing. Like you pass it down to your kid. It's not something you're selling every 2 or 3 years.
This was one of your. I remember you were in my very early conversations, like first couple months that we were working together, where you talked about the Eames chair, and I talked about a really nice watch that something like a Rolex or something like that, where you just know this is going to last for 50 years. So those sorts of products and ownership experiences are super inspiring for the two of us.
Awesome. Love to hear that. What are you looking at for a warranty, or do you know yet?
We haven't announced a warranty yet, but it's going to be good. And the reason we're confident in saying that is because we are going through an automotive test process, which is really unheard of in the RV industry. So for us, that starts with really first safety and functional testing. So it's number one is making sure that it's super safe, making sure that it works as intended, and then going through a pretty extended reliability and durability test cycle. So that means taking the lift system, running it hundreds of times, every door. This is gonna be the funnest intern job ever, opening and closing a door 1,000 times, right?
Right.
That's literally on the test program. So we want to progress that program before we establish what the warranty is. But it's going to be really good. And I think what's also really cool is if you look at the sort of EV part of it, so the motor, the batteries, because a lot of that technology comes from the automotive industry, where the tradition is not a 1-year warranty, or maybe if it's good it's a 3-year warranty. It's more like a 8 or 10-year warranty. It's hundreds of thousands of miles. It's thousands and thousands of cycles. And so we feel really confident in that part of the vehicle system, which will enable us to, I think, have a really best-in-class warranty when you think about the vehicle as an electric vehicle.
That would be great. I mean, people, you start talking 8 to 10 years, people are going to get really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that's something we're excited to share more with as we get through our test programs.
Another part of that sort of automotive validation and test approach is not to just test the whole vehicle at the end, but you do it at every level of how it's built. So you start at the component, the bolted joint, go up to the sub-assemblies, maybe just the HVAC system, just the climate control system on its own, then look at how it performs in the vehicle still in the lab setting, then you take them on the road. If you do it at many levels, you gain a lot of confidence along the way.
Well, I need to do some serious boondocking in this heat out there, so you mind if I borrow this and see if I can survive in the 110 degree heat?
Yeah. We'll get you one of our beta units.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Our ambition is that I think we'll achieve this is that water becomes the limiter on the dry camping experience, not power.
Yeah, water is, I'm going to ask you, or if you don't talk about the tanks, I'll be asking you about it.
Yeah. We have more videos coming out with Lightship RV, including an in-depth tour with the founders of the company. We also have how-to videos, adventures, and more. Thank you so much for subscribing. We appreciate it.
This opening is indicative of the garage opening on the production vehicle. On the production vehicle, what you get is a full pass-through garage, so it's from one side all the way to the other. So little cutouts like this, for instance, you won't see, but it's a pretty substantial amount of space. You can probably easily put a family's worth of luggage and stuff. We'll also have a front trunk, that's it's sometimes called, up on the tongue box up there. So this will be, let's say you're just stopping for a quick second roadside and you need something quick from the RV. You're not going to take the couple of minutes to lift up the canopy, which is what we call the top half of the vehicle. You can just go into the front, pop it open, and grab something out of that.
And you have space because you don't have propane tanks.
No, yeah, exactly. That was a big opportunity here. It was part of what enabled us to take the air conditioner off of the roof. Was having no propane cans on the tongue, and so you want to then reuse that space for something productive, and so we put the HVAC and some of the power system up there, but still preserved a notch for a frunk.
So we do a little bit of an overview of charging, and you'll also get to see the evolution here and how we've upgraded the system. But so yeah, Gen 1 system, we had the charger here in the back, and we used the CCS standard, or J1772, and you can see that here. And as you know, as we spend a lot of time hauling the Alpha around, get a little bit of a better view. A couple things became apparent. One is that we really wanted to change the charge port location. So when you see the beta vehicles, you'll see it here up at the front, right actually near the frunk. And that was done from a lot of sort of looking at sort of topology of charging both at fast chargers or at campgrounds. We found it to be a lot easier to have it up there in the front. And then the other big change going into production is we switched over from the CCS standard to the NACV, or the Tesla standard, which is something that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, going to NACS, NACS is a big deal for us. It's I think pretty clear at this point that the North American charging standard will be the fast charging standard for really fast and slow charging standard for EVs. And you've probably heard there are a lot of Tesla superchargers out there as well, so pretty enticing to look at that network as an option too. The thinking or the realization with moving the charge port from the rear of the vehicle, where you might find it on a more traditional RV, up to the front, was one, just the design of vehicles. So you can imagine if the whole top is telescoped down, you still may want to be able to access the charge port. Best place to do that, or the best way to do that, is when it's up on the tongue box up here. Pretty key for fast charging as well. So if you're fast charging, let's say you have an EV truck, if you're fast charging your truck and your trailer at the same time, you would want the charge port to be as close to the truck's charge port as possible. That's sort of the best place for the way that most fast charging sites, DC fast charging sites, are laid out. We also liked it coming up front here because it's just ergonomically better. It's nice to have it sort of at holster or hip height, as opposed to having to reach down for it. And all of these things, I'd say we came to that realization from having had, thousands of people come through the Gen 1, the prototype vehicle, and having lots of long conversations with folks about topics like this. And I had a bunch of people mention to us that this is where they can imagine themselves using the charge port the most, and so that's what's going to work for us. We're making sure that the charging cord set that you have, the power cord, is long enough to reach the power pedestal in an RV park, sort of no matter where the pedestal is placed, even, for instance, if it's placed near the very rear of the vehicle.
But they shouldn't have to use that too often, right?
Yeah, unless you're really heavily using a lot of the appliances, or if you're in a low sun scenario, as like maybe you're in Olympic Park up in the Pacific Northwest, you might deplete the battery in that case and want to charge back up. I think one of the things that's really awesome for us is that EV charging infrastructure is maybe one of the challenges sort of hindering the broad adoption of electric vehicles. And in RVing, it's not nearly as much of a challenge. We say to ourselves that destination charging is built into the RV experience, because so many RV campgrounds have 50 amp hookups that traditionally you use to run, say, 3 air conditioners on a big motor coach, but also have enough power to charge up an L1 from empty to full overnight.
So you expect it to charge pretty quickly then?
Yeah, because it's it's an EV style powertrain. A lot of those components are the same ones that you'd find in a passenger car. The terminology is a little confusing, but you can level 1, level 2, or level 3 charge the vehicle. Level 1 charging is like trickle charging, so you run an extension cord from your garage, and it would take like a couple days to go from totally empty to full. Level 2 charging is more like overnight charging, and it's the type of 240 volt power that you can get at an RV campground, or maybe a dryer outlet if you have one of those at home, or if you already have an EV charger at your house, then of course you can level 2 charge your L1 overnight at home. Level 3 charging is fast charging, so that's like a sub 1 hour charging time, and that'd be where you'd roll it into a public station, plug it in, grab lunch, and then come back, and you're good to go for another 300 miles of range assist.
Okay, great. No, that's great to hear. I don't drive an EV, so I don't know these things.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a brand new world. It's not unapproachable, but there's new education. There's new stuff to learn, and it's in some ways it's part of the fun of it. Where this is where your fresh hookup will be.
Okay.
You'll see that on the beta vehicles as well, the next gen vehicle.
What kind of tank capacities do you have?
We've got it's a just under a 50 gallon fresh tank. I think it's 49 and change. About it's like a 30 or 35 gallon gray, and slightly smaller on the black.
Okay.
So basically, you can fully exhaust your fresh tank into the gray and black, and you'll see if you flip around as well. You'll see that the fresh tank on the production vehicle is between the two axles, so that whether you're full or empty, you're not changing the weight balance of the trailer very much. So it'll still tow stably in either case. And then the black and gray are at the back, just under the bathroom.
We haven't released the official numbers because as we're completing the production design, we're taking every little inch of space we can, and every little every gram of mass we can to put it to the water tank. So
thank you for that.
That's
on behalf of the RVers of America, thank you for that.
Yeah, we've heard that a number of times.
It's kind of fun in a way, but disappointing that I talk to RVers all the time about is finding hidden space.
Yeah.
So it's like a treasure hunt, and for the DIY people, it's like, oh great, here's hidden space that's not used in the RV, and the rest of us that don't want a DIY are like, well, why wasn't it already storage?
Yeah, right.
It's like every square inch of extra space should be used for water, storage, something useful, provided it fits into the weight that you're trying to do. So thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. We have been screaming for, the standard RV companies to change and just let's update the design, let's do something different.
Yeah.
And it's so much of the it's always been done this way, so we're going to keep doing it that way. So thank you for doing that.
I think you'll see when we go on the inside that we have some pretty novel approaches to adding storage.
I'm interested in the from a water use standpoint. Now that you guys of course have a fair amount of experience in conserving your water, but if you talk about, let's say, a 50 gallon fresh tank, how long would y'all stretch that?
Well, we have our particular RV has 2 freshwater tanks. It's like built for boondocking. It has over 150 gallons of fresh.
Yeah.
So it's a big toy hauler. It's insanely larger. I mean, I'm envious of the smaller size to get into more places because we can't go everywhere we want to go.
Yeah.
But we've stretched 150 gallons, pushing it to 2 weeks. So if we cut that in, by a third, if you're at 50,
5 days.
So yeah, maybe 4 or 5 days. That's military style showers, being super quick.
Daily though? Daily showers or maybe every other?
Yes, that was daily. Yeah. we were using it. We were camping around Zion, and we were out adventuring every day, and so yeah, it was a definite. But yeah, I mean, 4 or 5 days, that's a long weekend for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit extra to spare, or you have a large family, that's just 2 of us, so you're gonna burn through that quicker.
Yeah.
If you have kids, you're always like,
turn the faucet off.
Shut that off.
When I go out with my kids, that's the problem.
Yeah. But at least, I mean, you don't have to do that with electricity.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because we can only run 1 AC at a time.
Yeah.
We have 3 of them. It's like, okay, shut this one off, start this one, and okay, shut that off. We're running the microwave, and so it's just not designed to do everything all at once. But
Ben calls that phenomenon managing a rolling brownout, which is about right.
I like that, but it's like, that's okay for me, but like Cherie doesn't want to mess with that BS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like she is just annoyed by that kind of stuff.
It's a lot that we're putting up with to do that. I mean, I think what it should be is this should feel more like a vacation home, where like you turn it on. Okay, maybe when you first come to the vacation home, you have to flip the main on, but after that, it just works.
Right.
Your outlets have power. You're not constantly thinking about, do I have enough, or shifting loads from place to place. In the RV, it should be simple.
So then I should just ask, so you designed it so you can run AC, you can run the convection microwave oven, and you have a dishwasher. They have a dishwasher in this size of trailer. That's awesome. I mean, that's a great. I mean, that was a surprise to see that.
It's uncommon. Great. It's uncommon in this size. We love it too from the water saving standpoint, though, because unless you're really experienced in sort of conserving water dish by dish, it's much more water efficient to just use a high efficiency dishwasher. It's a little over 2 gallons per cycle. So
wow. That's
not that you're going to do this with 25 cycles of dishes.
So literally out there boondocking, you can run the dishwasher, and it's going to only chew through a few gallons of water.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ben and I didn't initially agree about this one. Ben was pro dishwasher. I was like, that's a lot. It's a lot of cost.
I'm sort of the maximalist.
And we as often as we can, but at least once a year, we'll go on a founder RV trip, and he convinced me by. We made a big pasta dinner, had a whiskey or 2, and then made me do the dishes. And I was like, all right, we're getting the dishwasher.
Like the light off.
Well, and if you talk to a lot of RVers, that may not be considered a necessity, but wow, it is high on that list of wanted items, especially if for full-timers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge, but even part-time.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Yeah. The big idea there is, I mean, I guess we've touched on it a couple of times already, but it's like, how do we spend less time maintaining and keeping up this vehicle and operating it, setting it up, tearing it down, all of this stuff, and more time out camping? And so this is another one of those elements where, like, it's convenience, it's an efficiency thing. More than anything, it's preserving your time to go hang out at the picnic table or go on a hike or whatever you want to do.
I like that. I mean, anywhere you can shave off any amount of time off setup or tear down of your campsite, setting up the RV. That's more time camping, and you're just going to get a lot more happy campers. Because that can be a stressful time, is when you only have 2 or 3 days for a weekend camping trip, and you're getting off of work and you're grabbing the kids and shoving everybody in the truck and like, let's get to the campsite before dark. You don't want to set up, for you new campers, you don't want to set up in the dark. But if you can shave a few minutes off of that, that's just quicker to having fun, enjoying time with your family.
Well, and I think you were saying this earlier. If you're somebody who goes out a lot, or even if you're full timing, there's an attrition. There's like a mental attrition to constantly having to do this. It's like that's the thing that maybe wears you down over time. So the more of that you're not having to do, the more sustainable this whole lifestyle is.
Exactly. Less time means less exhaustion, less burnout on camping if you're full time.
You gotta save your energy for like kids' bedtimes.
Yeah.
That'll take some energy.
Exactly.
If your kids are like mine.
Not to pass it by, this is a material library that shows some of the different touch points and the look and feel of the materials that we'll see inside of the vehicle. There's a lot to go through here. I'll call out a few. We love this. It's called a 3D knit fabric. So if you feel it, it's pretty plush.
Oh yeah.
It's a mixture of wool and recycled polyester, PET.
Nice.
It's got a great feel to it. It's a really complex design as well. So I really like how it strikes the eye. Super comfortable. It's woven in such a way that there's no scrap or there's no waste in the weaving process. So it's a machine. It's a little bit like how, if you've seen like some Nike shoes, things like that, how the fabric is this woven into this 3D shape when it's got kind of like a plush mesh upper.
Right.
Same style. And so the machine is weaving the fabric to exactly the right shape, so you don't have cut-offs. So there's not the waste cut-off. Like if you're cutting from a flat sheet, you're only using the exact amount of material that the product design calls for.
Interesting.
Cool.
And what do you use that fabric for?
You'll see on the inside, it's
Okay.
a lot of, or really all of the cushions. So the seat backs, seat bottoms, the some of the bedding area all has this 3D knit fabric. Use some technical materials for like ripstops and things like that for the headliner up top. Love this countertop material. So there's a lot of our approach is towards reuse as much as possible of materials, in meaning recycled plastics, things like that. This is what you'll find in the production bathroom countertop, and so you can see it's a really nice design, but at the same time there's these regrind materials. These are coming from old appliances that have been chopped up and repurposed.
Oh, okay.
So this material is not all virgin material, they call it. Some of it is a thoughtful reuse of a material that's already done work before. It's great for the environment.
Right.
Similarly, with something like this is what you'll find in the dining room tabletop. So if you look closely, you can see these fabric threads that are still in there. So there's actually lots of recycled apparel, like clothing. I think we've heard that it's old banker suits are being repurposed, chopped down, and then mixed up into now a nice new kind of pleasing to the eye tabletop material. So that sort of thinking you'll find throughout the materials on the interior. Picked up on is the same opaque plastic that we used to partition off the bathroom from the rest of the space. This is also what we used in the dividers here in our showroom.
Oh, okay.
That same material, it's all over the place. This is something we love doing, is even representing these little elements of the product in the other ways that we show up in the world. So we have a we call it a depot, Lightship's first depot in San Francisco, in an area called Oyster Point, just right next to the airport there, and we're decking out this depot will be sort of like a sales, service, and experience center, but it's also where we do a sizable portion of our product R&D. And as we're now designing the lobby space in this depot, we're trying to pull some of the elements of the product into the lobby space as well. So you may not even notice it, but then when you see it again later on, for instance, in the vehicle, you're like, wow, yeah, it seems familiar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, shall we take a look inside?
All right, Tom, let's get up in here. So This is the interior of the Lightship L1.
Wow, it's so roomy, and the windows just blow me away in here.
I honestly didn't. I don't think any of us anticipated how open it would feel until before building this kind of Gen 1 prototype. We built a very, startup style, quick and dirty mock-up of the interior. We called it the interior buck. It was basically plywood, 2x4s, not much else, but it was full scale. And I remember the first time that we stepped into it, we were like, oh my gosh, this feels like an apartment or something. You get the tall ceiling plus a lot of transparent surfaces, so you don't really feel penned in the same way that you do in a lot of small RVs. It totally changes the experience.
What is the length of this?
It's about a 26 foot, between 26 and 27 foot travel trailers. It's the body is about 23 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's, and I think in square footage terms, it's a little bit less than 200 square feet.
Okay, interior square feet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. But like you say, feels like a lot more. Let me describe sort of the different zones of the interior before we get into all the details. We have a lounge space here, which doubles as the bedroom. Right now it's fully open. We'll offer an accessory that is a privacy shade, basically, or a partition that allows you to partition off the bedroom from the rest of the space if maybe you've already put the kids down to bed and mom and dad want to hang out and have a glass of wine after hours. You could do that with a setup like that. So the lounge area is your chill out, hang out zone during the day, and then it's where you're sleeping at night. We didn't actually build it into this prototype, but we'll also have what we call a third bed option, or a lofted bed. So
wow,
this is set up right now as a 4-person camper, but you can get up to 6 with the addition of that drop down lofted bed. It hides up into the ceiling during the day. Dining area, of course. This whole console down the length is a storage console. It's lots of storage space for clothing and what have you in each of these compartments.
Great.
And a charging zone for your devices, so your catch-all.
That's what that is.
Device
all right. Love how the windows swing out like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's a funny side story where Lightship was originally the very first thought, very early days, is that it would be an electric food truck business, and now by happenstance, I guess I didn't ask the designers to do this. We ended up with these food truck style, openable windows, the swing open window. What's one thing that I'm so excited about is that on this prototype, right now only this window opens. In the production vehicle, we have 4 opening windows.
Wow.
This pillar right here gets replicated over here, so that will be a fixed in place window, as are the nose. But you'll have this window, this one, and then both behind the kitchen area here are all going to be able to open up, and so it's going to be an open air, gazebo experience, which I think is going to be amazing.
That's great when it's nice outside, which might be part of the day, like evenings now, but then during the day when it's 100 outside, it's like you can crank the AC.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're closed down. We not shown in this prototype. We'll have blackout shades. You can pull down blackout shades, roller shades, or bug screens. There's kind of both. So either if it's if it's a buggy night but you want the window open, just a bug screen, or if you're trying to keep the sun out and blast the AC, then we're just have some privacy. Then you pull down all the blackouts, and yeah, you'll keep cool. You're probably wondering if we talked about how the air conditioner is not on the roof. Question then becomes where is it? Like where is the air coming from? It's a pretty trick part of the design that the blower motor for the air conditioner is hidden in the crook. Right here.
Really?
This is probably my favorite nook in the whole vehicle. hanging out on in the corner of the short side of the L. And so that HVAC blower motor now blows air behind the seat back here. So the seat back itself is a duct. Okay?
Wow.
It's an air conditioning duct. And then there's a slit. There's a series of slits behind the seat back there, which again is doubling as a duct. And so you'll get a curtain of cool air that comes up all the way where you see this coral colored seat back.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna be.
Does it extend all the way up there?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, the full 180 plus.
Yeah, that is great. And I mean, this size of table for this size of trailer is great. And then this is another 2-person bed, right?
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Right. So this will be a queen sized bed up front, and then this is more of a full, and the drop down bed will also be about a full size.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So the whole table will drop down as well. So this is how you get the unbroken sleeping surface. So the table sort of needed to be this big to act as a full bed.
As the platform, right? Yeah.
But it's nice that it is, because it means you can get 6 people on there pretty easily. I think in most settings, if let's say it's a 4-person family, you'll just be on the L portion of the seating. But you could, if you maybe you had some dinner guests over, you can pull up another couple chairs around the other side and have a nice dinner.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I'm psyched about this. We talked about the storage here. So bed in the front, second bed, dining area. This is all kitchen. Of course, it's a pretty fully appointed kitchen. So induction cooktop. Of course, all the appliances are electric because they're running off of the big EV battery. Microwave. It's actually going to be a microwave convection oven in the production version. Big double drawer fridge here.
I saw that. That is great.
Yep.
So clean to do it that way.
Yeah, comes in handy at the shows that we go to as well, because some of them are blazing hot in the desert, and it's nice to have some cool bevies.
Right.
Separate freezer area here. So,
so that's the freezer, and
Exactly.
these were both just refrigerator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in sum total. I think it's something like 5 + 2 cubic feet in total. So it's a fair amount of food storage space. The goal across the product has been to have a small family be able to go out for up to a week, and so we've sized everything to that goal. This is sort of your junk drawer,
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta, like as you said, you gotta make use of every remaining inch of space, and so of course we're diving around the plumbing there.
yeah, most RV manufacturers would just leave that alone. It would be a walled off area, and here you've created all this space.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree. And then the coup de grace.
Right. Dun dun dun. Yeah.
Six setting dishwasher. So again, enough for a small family. Uses very little water per cycle. We actually have this same dishwasher in one of our offices, and so we're running it frequently. And I'll tell you, it's very quiet.
And you said that was more efficient than washing by hand.
Yeah, quite a bit. Typically, what I've read, I haven't tried this myself, but I think typically you'd use maybe 3 or 4 gallons of water if you're watching your water use, but hand washing the dishes. This is closer to 2, which is
That's
great.
awesome.
A lot of time and hassle saved too. Little step up here. This is kind of nice. It's just a second layer where you can put maybe your spices and things like that. Big countertops. One thing that I think makes the interior really unique is that unlike maybe a more traditional RV where it's an inside out design challenge where you design an interior and then put a box around it, and those are the trailer walls. In our case, we think of this as a vehicle first, something that needs to go down the road and be efficient and durable and all those things as it goes, and then we built a living space within that efficient vehicle. And so the shape of the body, which is unique. For instance, we're looking at a boat tail here. The body sort of declines in width as you get to the back to help the aerodynamics. That same shape gets replicated all across the interior, so the countertops, for instance, are following the shape of that exterior design. This is a trash area. Here's your pantry, all your pots and pans and food storage.
Lots of space,
etc.
You've got really tough magnets on here, so those are not going to open down the road.
Arguably a little too tough for tuning that in, but yeah, it's obviously important they don't come loose as you're going. And then a nice sort of a spa bathroom in the back.
This is incredible for this size of trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, often with a travel trailer, you're looking at a combo with your toilet and your shower in the same spot, and this is but separate, lots of space here, and the windows and this mirror. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Sheree is always talking to me about RV bathrooms being like, they're not thinking of women in general for RV bathrooms, so she's going to think this is awesome.
Good lighting, a nice mirror, like you're saying, having it be a dry bath where your shower and your toilet space are separate from one another. Nobody likes water from the shower on the toilet.
Right.
After all of that we thought there was a big opportunity. More of that recycled plastic material, like I showed you outside.
Where you can get different finishes. If someone doesn't want the more pink kind of look there, you can go with something else.
Yeah, for instance, and we've also this as a show vehicle. This is like the most bold version of the vehicle interior that we would show. We've toned it down a little bit as well, so that you get that essence of really unique and sort of environmentally oriented design, but it's not gonna it's not totally crazy. Love the rain shower head. Your overhead shower head is really nice here, and a tile floor as well. So yeah, a bathroom you can actually use.
Yeah, that is great. So many people with travel trailers have to use like the campground or RV park facilities because they're just not comfortable to get a shower in.
No, the bummer for me is when you end up using your bathroom as a storage, like an extra storage zone, because you as the owner for whatever reason don't want to use it. I think it should be like a place that you can go to at the end of a long day. Let's say you've been out for a long hike and relax. I don't know if you've had a chance to check out our infotainment system.
I have not.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. I also groundbreaking in this type of product to have a truly integrated and custom developed infotainment system. So this is the way that you see everything that's happening on board the vehicle. It's how you control the different parts of it. So if for instance, we'll have physical switches as well. We'll have physical light switches in the production version, but maybe you're already in bed and you're just you forgot to turn off the bathroom lights. You can now do that, from above. So I think
that is great.
I think it's good. I think it's a good improvement. And you can do this on every portion of the vehicle. So this is how you do your climate control, check to make sure all your doors and windows are closed and locked as you're setting off.
Oh, okay.
We'll do this a little later. This is how you raise and lower the canopy, the top half of the vehicle to go between the road and the camp mode. Check your water levels across the vehicle. Okay, yeah, so there you go. I believe this is where we landed. 50, 35, 30.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
I think that's right.
Any kind of cameras or security system at all?
Yes, not built into this. This was sort of our demonstration piece, but yeah, we will have a really awesome camera system built into the vehicle. It comprises of 2 side cameras in each of the hoops here, and then a fisheye camera, like a backup camera in the rear.
Okay.
This is cool. So it means you can get a 270-degree view around the whole trailer, and we're even working on having kind of like an overhead or a Hawkeye view as well, so you can really see everything that's around the trailer from the infotainment system, which as a mobile tablet you'll take up into the tow vehicle.
Okay.
As you're going down the road. The vehicle itself is a Wi-Fi base station, so it creates its own Wi-Fi network, and it has a cell connection to, you know, to a cell provider. And so as you're up in the truck, for instance, and let's say you want to check your tire pressures, you'll be able to see what the tire pressures are, make sure they're all in good shape, from getting data wirelessly from the vehicle to the truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And what is this bag hanging up right here?
Yeah, it's a great. We have a cheeky name for it. It's part of the garage. The idea is to have a flexible storage system. So you can see that I think some people, if they're only going out for a weekend, maybe they want to preserve the window space and get that extra light coming in. So maybe you have the blinds down here, but you still want some natural light to come in. Great, you can do that. Let's say you're a family or you're going out for a longer period, you might want some extra storage. And so we have these gear rails up here on both sides, and there's a whole accessory system that we have begun to develop for the gear rails. It'll be things like storage totes, both soft and hard. Each of these is, for point of reference, I think it's about the size of a carry-on, an airplane carry-on. So you can get something like 3 on this side, and actually the production version of the vehicle, we've extended the gear rails over the doorway.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you have 2 full-length gear rails. So I think in total you get about 8 cubes worth of additional overhead storage space. That's sort of separate from it, and in addition to having the four lower storage compartments, and then that whole garage, the pass-through garage under the bed.
Yeah. Does this come out right here?
Yeah, this one does. It's I think we've had a couple of issues on the prototype, so I don't want to pull it immediately, but this is actually going to be one of, if not the notable change between this generation, the prototype generation of the product, and the production version. We designed this as kind of like an IKEA sofa, if you've seen those, where the foot comes out, you flip it up.
Sure.
The production version of the product, this was still a few too many steps for my liking, and so we've now got. It's almost like a folding Murphy bed. So it opens up like a clamshell. It's when the bed is closed, it's stadium seating, you could say. So there's a love seat portion, and then there's a raised lounge portion. All of the bedding is contained within it, though, and so you're going to pull a single strap. The whole thing opens up, the bedding is pre-made within it, and now you get this diamond-shaped queen-size bed.
Wow, yeah. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really amazing. Yeah, and actually the beauty of doing that, going to the stadium seat style setup, and while preserving the lounge, is that it opens up a lot of extra interior storage space down below. So all of this compartment here, going back maybe 18 inches, is now open interior storage as well. And then there's a bulkhead that separates the interior from the wet exterior.
Nice job, Ben. Wow. It's Thanks. Like you guys have put a lot into this.
Yeah. It's and the thing that it's hard for me to communicate right now, but you will see in a couple months as we open up configurations of the production product, is just how much work has gone in between this concept vehicle and the production version of the vehicle. We have spent the last 18 months or so going from a 30-person team to now something like an 85-person team. That's included a lot of expansion of the operations and the product development team. there is a ton of production-oriented engineering and supply chain work, and like all of the steps that are required to take this from a concept to a working product that you or I would want to own. And yeah, it's going to be a party when we get to show it to the rest of the world.
I bet.
Yeah.
No, it's very exciting. Is this full lighting right now?
Yes, it is. This is actually an area we knew after having you actually build it and you learn a lot of things. The lighting on the ring light here was a little too dim for our liking, so we now have it was always good in the back with the task lights, but we've beefed up the lighting on the front here so that you get good coverage throughout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk about an area where you can literally like look at the stars.
Yeah,
know.
I'm so glad you picked up on that. This is the first time that Toby and I ever camped in this thing. We were going to give a pitch for the company, and it's pretty funny actually. We were in it was like downtown in California. It was in the town of Palo Alto, and we parked this thing at the train station there overnight. So we're like camping in the train station, getting ready to give the company pitch the next day. And one of the things that really stood out to me, which I knew would be cool, but didn't know how cool it was looking up through the horseshoe windows there and getting a view of the night sky from the bed.
Oh wow!
It was pretty great.
I'll have to crawl back here and
So we have the blocks there too. Whenever kids
move the
come
kids'
by,
toys.
yeah, they always play with it.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty great. We've taken this to, of course, some natural settings too. Like we've gone out to we were at a ski mountain in Utah near Ogden recently, and you're like looking up the mountain slope from within this, and you just keep seeing all the way up because there's so many windows built in. It was cool. We've taken a lot of time to make sure that I think a natural challenge when you have lots of windows is you want to make sure that they're all durable, and that they're unlikely to break. And so, for instance, all of these big window panes down low are automotive safety glass, so like the same glass that goes into a windshield. It's a piece of laminated, double layered glass.
Okay.
So it won't shatter, and it's quite durable. The front windows here, which you remember, or you'll see as you drop the canopy down, these windows are directly behind the truck that's pulling it. So you got to think about rock chips and scratching, things like that, debris coming off of the road. So all of these windows, the ones behind are glass. These ones are a formed acrylic, like an aircraft windshield material, and we'll also have a hard coating on them so that they're plastic but scratch resistant. So you'll get a combo of good impact resistance and scratch resistance, so that you don't have a wear problem with them.
And rounded. That is such a you just don't see rounded windows in RVs.
Yeah, and it's all a part of that aerodynamic necessity. It's such a I think there's this idea of form following function that is absolutely the case with something like these windows, where they're curved because they need to be curved, because the air needs to hit them and then stay attached to the body of the vehicle, not hit it and fly off. It needs to be a smooth form all the way down the length, and having a curved surface like that is what allows you to do that. All these are just access panels in the hoops there, so you access the wiring and things like that.
Okay.
You have to do maintenance. Yeah, as we saw, there's a lot going on under the floor. These two seats in the production vehicle are flip up as well. This one is flip up just to create more space, or even if, for instance, maybe you want to store your bike inside the vehicle. If you're going out for a ways, you can pull the bike in here. That flip up seat is where the bedding gets stored for this bed here. So you pop it up sort of like chest style and grab the stuff in there.
So right in here?
Yeah. I think it's probably fixed on the prototype.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it'll flip up on a hinge. And actually, if you have we're designing the vehicle to be Starlink ready. So if you're going out for a ways and you want to make sure you have broadband satellite internet via something like Starlink, we have a spot for a Starlink router back here, and we'll have a pass-through available as well, like an Ethernet pass-through where you can plug in your Starlink dish outside and run it back to the router.
Blown away by this, Ben. I mean, you take so many areas and like, how can it be better? And this is great. I mean, something so aerodynamic, and it looks great. Tons of storage, and it's not going to cost you at the fuel, tank.
Yeah, right.
I mean.
Yeah, if you're towing with a traditional vehicle, a gas or diesel vehicle, you go a couple thousand miles, you're saving hundreds of dollars of fuel costs along the way. And so if you're doing long miles like you guys do, that really adds up.
Yeah, totally, and you can get about 300 miles.
Yeah, it will self-propel for 300 miles as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so there, right, exactly. This is a cool thing too. If you're, let's say you're towing with a diesel, you might choose to get the drive system. You might not. If you didn't, then you would just get, I don't know, instead of 8 or 9 miles a gallon, you're back up into the high teens. If you did get the drive system and you're towing with a diesel, now your fuel economy is basically back to your unladen highway fuel economy for that 300 miles of charge that you have.
So, right, if you run out and you need to keep going another 100 miles, you can just tow it regular.
Then it's just a very aerodynamic, normal freewheeling trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Then you probably get to the campsite, and maybe it's a site with hookups, and you plug in, and you're going another 300 miles the next day.
I'm having a hard time picking what needs to be added. Like, what is it missing? Of course,
I'm quite sure there's stuff we have not thought of. This actually was part of the reason why we did this flexible storage system, having the gear rails, for instance, we'll have little tie down points around the vehicle, because I think the more people that we get into this, the more we're going to hear about how people want to use it. Because it's only when you really go camping with it for a long time that like, these are all the details that are missing. And so we tried to, knowing that we're brand new here, we tried to future-proof a little bit in having points where you can add stuff over time, so that people's good ideas are something we can actually build into even this first product.
Well, and I wasn't too sure about this being a full-timer's RV, but now that I'm in here and I look at all of the storage, and I mean, yeah, just making it such a cheap way to travel for a full-timer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get all this space when it's fully deployed. I think it's a great option. I think it is.
And especially for a couple, if you're just two people going out full timing, you've got a big truck too. Here's the idea: you've been out for 5 or 6 hours. It's a long travel day, and you just rolled up to the campsite. Everybody's hungry for dinner. The kids are like, "Come on, what are we gonna eat?" There's this really cool presentational moment that happens as you've had the camper in road mode, so it's in this sleek aerodynamic shape. You can now see that it's really only about the height of a truck. It's the same as a, I think it's within a couple of inches of an F-150, the top of the cab. So it's truly tows pretty small between a low roof line and having this heavy battery in the floor that sort of stabilizes the trailer. It's a nice towing dynamic. Now it's time to start camping and then to get into the trailer. So you've pulled up, you've unhitched, and then there's this moment as I raise up the canopy, and you can see the progress there. Goes pretty quickly. I think we're talking about a minute or so. And this is a presentational moment.
This is when you get the whole campground to come over and say, "Oh my gosh,
as
look
we're
at
talking,
that!"
The crowd is gathering.
Right.
Of course, they're all like, "What is this thing? What am I looking at?" And then you say, "Yeah, this is my Lightship L1, hot off of the production line." It's pretty stunning to see how much larger it gets. Like you can already see this at this point. We're 3/4 of the way up, the thing just keeps rising. In total, it's about a 3-foot stroke from bottom to top. I think it ends up where you're at about a 10-foot roof height. So that's it. So now you've gone from road mode to camp mode, and it's time to start the fun. It's pretty cool.
Nice. And right, if you're not doing hookups, you're ready to go, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, of course, we're not hooked up, and it's running off of its own power. This would be the case. You might have even, if it were a hot day, you may have preconditioned the inside of the camper so that it's already 68 degrees and the AC is blowing as you've raised it up into camp mode, and it's self-contained.
That is awesome. I mean, talk about just a couple minutes setup. I mean, that's great.
Yep. Even this, which is, I think, one of the most unique parts of the vehicle, it should still be button press, like not a lot of time. We were talking through the whole thing. It's got to be simple. Do you want to try it? Do you want to bring it back down?
Let's do it.
Now, you're coming off of this nice long 3-day weekend, and it's time to pack up. You've put your stuff away on the inside, and the last thing to do is to go from camp mode back into the road mode. And so you can show us how you do that.
Oh, packing up. So much work. I guess I gotta use my thumb to lower it.
Right.
Did I finish my beer off?
Yeah. So you're really getting your exercise over there.
I'm gonna have to do thumb exercises for this.
Obviously, you can see the progress visually, but it's kind of cool.
And so if somebody gets distracted doing this, will it safely, like if it keeps running, no big deal, or while you're raising it, if it runs for an extra couple seconds?
It'll just pause. Like if, I see what you're saying. Like if it hits something, for instance, on the far side.
Well, or if it goes to the 0, will it stop even with your button press?
See.
Okay.
You'll see when it gets to 0, even with your thumb pressed on it, the canopy will stop moving.
Okay.
It basically has limits built in. Yeah, and we'll do things like, for instance, maybe there was something on the far side you didn't see, and if it knocked it as it went, the motor can sense when it hits something, and so if it has a hard contact, it will just stop, even with your thumb still pressed.
Okay.
Things like that. So
that's good from a safety aspect.
You'd probably call it collision detection. Collision detection is built in.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that's going to get a lot of looks going down the road.
Oh, it has. It has.
And the sink is okay, huh? The faucet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it right there.
Yeah, so this is stowed.
Okay. Yeah, speechless right now after getting to see that.
I think you might be the first to capture this. You're definitely the first.
You are the first
outside of Lightship to do that.
First to drive.
I'm just gonna sit here and keep raise lower, raise lower, raise lower.
Your speechless. It really is kind of wild.
And you can see like the kids will be like, I want to do it. I want to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Better stash this pad somewhere.
Yeah.
They'll be back at the campsite.
Well,
playing with it.
One thing we will do with it is, of course, there's some safety elements here, so we'll child lock it. So there might be like a passcode, for instance. So you have to unlock it and put in something to make sure that only the right people can do it.
A camper unlike any other.
Transformer.
Yeah,
Right. I think I was like brainstorming titles for YouTube already, and I think I put Transformer RV.
People are 100% gonna see this for the first time and just be like, what spaceship has landed in our campground?
Right.